The cold metal floor felt like ice against his bare feet as Dr. Alex Rodriguez slowly opened his eyes. Something was wrong. The cryosleep chamber should have kept him unconscious for another 3 months, but here he was, fully awake and shivering. In the dim blue light of the medical bay, Araya, what's happening? He called out to the ship's computer system, his voice still hoarse from the long sleep. Good morning, Dr. Rodriguez. I apologize for the early wake-up call. But we have a situation that requires your immediate attention, the AI responded in its calm, measured tone. Alex pulled on his standard-issue jumpsuit and made his way to the main bridge. The massive research vessel Meridian felt eerily quiet. Usually, there would be at least 20 crew members bustling around. But today the corridors were empty, except for the soft humming of the ship's systems. Where is everyone? He asked, looking around the deserted bridge. The rest of the crew remains in cryosleep as scheduled. You were awakened specifically because of your expertise in alien biology, Arya explained. We've encountered something unprecedented. Alex settled into his chair and watched as the main screen flickered too. Life. What he saw made his heart skip a beat. Floating in the darkness of space was the most beautiful and terrifying thing he'd ever witnessed. It wasn't quite a ship, and it wasn't quite a living creature. It was something in between. The massive structure seemed to pulse with its own inner light, like a giant heart beating in the void. Its surface was smooth and organic, with what looked like veins of energy running along its exterior. It was easily 5 times the size of their research vessel, and it appeared to be drifting aimlessly through space. When did we find this? Alex asked, unable to take his eyes off the screen. Approximately 6 hours ago. Our sensors detected it as we passed through the Kepler 442 system. Initial scans show it's definitely artificial, but also partially biological. There's a single life form aboard, and it appears to be quite powerful. Alex leaned forward in his chair. In all his years studying alien life forms, he'd never seen anything like this. The ship seemed to be alive, breathing in the cosmic silence. As he watched, patterns of light danced across its surface, almost like it was trying to communicate. Have you tried making contact? He asked. Standard communication protocols have been attempted, but there's been no response until now. However, something changed about an hour ago. The vessel began showing increased activity. As if responding to their conversation, the alien ship suddenly blazed with brilliant light. Alex shielded his eyes as the bridge filled with an otherworldly glow. When the light faded, a figure stood before them on the bridge. She was unlike anything Alex had ever imagined. Tall and graceful, with skin that seemed to shimmer like crystal in the bridge lighting. Her hair moved as if underwater, floating around her shoulders with an ethereal quality. Her eyes were large and held depths that seemed to contain entire galaxies. Greetings, beings of Earth, she said, her voice carrying a musical quality that seemed to resonate in Alex's chest. I am Queen Zarathiel of the Veltar Empire. I have traveled far to reach you, and I come with a request that may seem strange to your kind. Alex stood slowly, his scientific mind racing even as he tried to process what he was seeing. This was first contact with an alien species, and it was happening to him, alone on a research vessel in the middle of nowhere. Welcome aboard, Your Majesty, he managed to say, hoping he was being appropriately respectful. I'm Dr. Alex Rodriguez. How can we help you? The Queen's expression grew sad, and Alex could see something like desperation in her alien features. My people are dying, Dr. Rodriguez. A terrible plague has swept through our galaxy, and we are the last of our kind. The males of our species. We're the first to fall, and now I am the only fertile queen remaining. Alex felt his heart sink. The beauty and wonder of this moment was being overshadowed by tragedy on a galactic scale. I'm sorry for your loss. That must be incredibly difficult. You cannot imagine, she replied, her voice carrying the weight of entire civilizations. But I have not come here simply to share my grief. I have come because my scientists have discovered something remarkable. Your species, humanity, shares certain genetic markers with my people. With the right process, it may be possible to create offspring that could continue our line. Alex blinked in surprise. Are you saying that humans and your people are genetically compatible? To a degree, yes. It is not a perfect match, but our bioengineers believe it is possible. The offspring would be hybrid beings, carrying traits from both our species. The queen paused, her gaze intensifying. But there's little time. My reproductive cycle is nearly at its end. If I do not produce offspring within the next few days, my people will become extinct forever. The weight of what she was saying hit Alex like a physical blow. An entire species, with knowledge and culture spanning millennia, could disappear forever. And somehow, he was being asked to help prevent that catastrophe. Why me? Me, he asked quietly. You are the only human male within 1,000 light years of this location. Our scanners have confirmed that your genetic profile is the most compatible with our species. I know this is a tremendous request, but I am asking for your help to save my people. Alex stared at the alien queen, his mind reeling. This was beyond anything he could have imagined when he signed up for this research mission. He was just a scientist, studying alien microorganisms and plant life. Now he was being asked to participate in saving an entire species. I need to contact Earth's command, he said finally. This is a decision that affects all of humanity. The queen nodded sadly. I understand your need to consult with your leaders. But please remember, time is not on our side. Every hour that passes brings my people closer to extinction. As the holographic image faded, Alex was left alone on the bridge with more questions than answers. He looked out at the alien bioship floating silently in space. Knowing that inside was a being facing the end of everything she had ever known, the fate of an entire species now rested in his hands. And he had no idea what the right choice would be. All he knew was that the universe had suddenly become a much more complicated place, and nothing would ever be the same again. Alex stared at the communication console, his hands trembling slightly as he typed out the message to Earth's command. How do you explain something like this? How do you tell your superiors that you've met an alien queen who needs your help too? Save her entire species. Message sent, Arya announced. Estimated delivery time to Earth command. 72 hours. 72 hours. Alex felt his stomach drop. The queen had said she only had days left before her reproductive cycle ended permanently. By the time Earth got his message and sent a response, it might already be too late. Arya, can you establish? Another communication link with the alien vessel, he asked. Certainly, Queen Zarathiel has been waiting for your response. The beautiful, shimmering figure appeared on the bridge again, but this time, Alex could see the strain in her features. Dark circles had appeared under her large eyes, and her crystalline skin seemed dimmer than before. Dr. Rodriguez, she said, her musical voice carrying a note of urgency. Have you made your decision? I've contacted my people, but it will take time for them to respond. Can you tell me more about your species, about this process you're talking about? The queen nodded, and suddenly the bridge filled with images. Alex found himself surrounded by scenes of an incredible civilization. Cities that floated among the stars, beings of light and crystal, working together in harmony, vast libraries containing the knowledge of countless worlds. We are the Veltar, she explained as the images swirled around them. For millions of years, we have been explorers and keepers of knowledge. We have visited thousands of worlds, learned from countless species, and helped many civilizations grow and prosper. Alex watched in amazement as the images showed Veltar scientists working alongside beings from dozens of different worlds. They were teachers, healers, and protectors of knowledge throughout the galaxy. But then came the plague, the queen continued, her voice growing heavy with sorrow. The beautiful images changed, showing the same crystal beings lying still and lifeless. Alex saw entire cities going dark, vast ships drifting empty through space, and the queen herself standing alone in what looked like a royal chamber. It started with the males of our species. They began falling into a deep sleep from which they never woke. Our best scientists worked around the clock, but nothing could stop it. Within a year, every male Veltar was gone. Alex felt tears forming in his eyes as he watched the tragedy unfold. I'm so sorry. That must have been devastating. Females lasted longer, but we began succumbing to I am the last, Dr. Rodriguez, the very last of my kind. The Queen's voice broke slightly. But our scientists discovered something before they died. They found that certain species throughout the galaxy share genetic markers with us. Humans are one of those species. The images changed again, showing complex genetic charts and biological diagrams that Alex barely understood. But he could see the similarities between human and Veltar DNA patterns. The process is not what you might think, the Queen continued. It is not physical in the way humans understand. It is a joining of life forces, a sharing of genetic information at the deepest level. It would be safe for you, but it requires complete trust between us. Alex studied the diagrams, his scientific mind trying to process what he was seeing. What would the offspring be like? It would be something new, not fully human, not fully Veltar, but a bridge between our species. They would carry the best traits of both our peoples, human creativity and passion, Veltar wisdom and knowledge. The idea was incredible, but Alex felt a chill run down his spine as he remembered something from the ship's database. Arya, bring up the historical records about the Veltar.
Certainly, the AI responded, and new information appeared on Alex's personal screen. What he read made his blood run cold. The Veltar hadn't always been peaceful explorers. Thousands of years. They had been conquerors, using their advanced
technology to dominate other species. They had only become peaceful after a great war that nearly destroyed them. You're reading about our past? The Queen said softly, noticing his expression. Yes, we were once a warrior people. But we learned from our mistakes. We chose a different path. But some of these hybrid offspring you created with other species, Alex said, scrolling through the records, they became incredibly powerful beings. Some of them turned against their own people. The Queen's expression grew pained. You are right to be concerned. Power without wisdom is dangerous, but that is why I chose to approach humanity. Your species has something unique. The ability to grow and change, to learn from mistakes and become better. The hybrid offspring would be raised with both human and Veltar values. Alex paced the bridge, his mind racing. On one hand, he could save an entire species from extinction. On the other hand, he might be creating beings that could become a threat to humanity. The weight of the decision was crushing. There's something else you should know, the Queen said quietly. The plague that destroyed my people was not natural. It was created by an ancient enemy of ours, the Kethver. They are artificial beings who see organic life as a threat to their perfect order. They have been hunting me across the galaxy, and they will not stop until I am dead. Alex felt his heart racing. Are you saying that by helping you, I could be putting humanity in danger? The Kethvar already see humanity as a threat because of your rapid development. Whether you help me or not, they will come for your species eventually. But if you help me, the hybrid offspring could be the key to defending against them. Queen stepped closer, her alien eyes filled with desperate hope. Dr. Rodriguez, I know this is an impossible choice. But please consider this. If my people die, all of our knowledge dies with us. Cures for diseases, technologies that could benefit countless worlds, wisdom gathered over millions of years, all of it will be lost forever. Alex looked out at the alien bioship, watching the patterns of light dance across its surface. Inside, that vessel was the last survivor of an ancient civilization. It's asking him to help preserve something that could never be replaced. But he was also thinking about humanity. About the billions of people back on Earth who had no idea that their future might depend on a decision made by one man in the depths of space. I need more time to think, he said finally. The Queen nodded sadly. I understand. But please remember, Dr. Rodriguez, time is the one thing we don't have. Every hour that passes brings my people closer to extinction, and the Kethvar are getting closer. As the holographic image faded, Alex was left alone with the most difficult decision of his life. Save an alien species and risk humanity's future, or let an entire civilization die to protect his own people. He looked at the countdown timer on his screen. 70 hours until Earth Command responded. The Queen might not have that long. Somewhere in the darkness of space, an ancient enemy was drawing closer, hunting the last hope of the Veltar people. The universe was waiting for his answer. Alex couldn't sleep. He'd been lying in his quarters for hours, staring at the ceiling while his mind raced through every possible outcome. The weight of the decision pressed down on him like a physical force. Two entire species hung in the balance. And somehow, the choice had fallen to him. He got up and walked to the small window in his room. The alien bioship floated silently in space, its surface pulsing with gentle light. Inside that vessel was Queen Zarathiel, slowly dying as her reproductive cycle came to an end. With each passing hour, the last hope of her people grew dimmer. "Arya," he called out softly, "what's the status on the Queen's vessel?" Bio-readings show continued deterioration. At current rates, Queen Zarathiel has approximately 18 hours before her biological systems shut down permanently. 18 hours. Alex felt his chest tighten. Earth Command wouldn't respond for another 54 hours, and even then, they might not give him the answer he needed. The bureaucrats back home would want to study the situation, form committees, debate the risks, but the Queen didn't have time for Earth's slow decision-making process. Alex made his choice. "Arya, open a communication channel to Queen Zarathiel." Shimmering figure appeared in his quarters, looking even more fragile than before. Her crystalline skin had lost much of its luster, and she seemed to be struggling to maintain the holographic connection. "Dr. Rodriguez," she whispered, her musical voice barely audible. "Have you decided?" "I'll help you," Alex said, the words coming out in a rush. "But I have conditions. I want to understand exactly what this process involves, and I want to be part of raising any offspring that result from this." The Queen's eyes filled with tears that sparkled like liquid starlight. "Thank you," she breathed. "I don't know what this means to my people. I think I do," Alex replied. "But I need to know everything. No secrets, no surprises, of course. But first, you must come aboard my vessel." The bonding process cannot be completed through holographic communication. Alex felt a flutter of nervousness in his stomach. He'd never been on an alien ship before. "Is it safe for humans? The atmosphere has been adjusted for your biology. You'll be perfectly safe, I promise." 20 minutes later, Alex found himself in a small transport pod, crossing the void between the two ships. As he approached the alien vessel, he could see that it was even more incredible up close. The hull wasn't made of metal or any material he recognized. It looked organic, like the shell of some enormous sea creature. But it pulsed with energy and seemed to respond to his presence. The transport pod was drawn into what appeared to be a docking bay, though it looked more like the mouth of a living organism. As Alex stepped out, he gasped in amazement. The interior of the ship was unlike anything he'd ever imagined. The walls curved and flowed like they were made of water, but they were solid to the touch. Veins of light ran through them, carrying information and energy throughout the vessel. The floor felt warm beneath his feet, and the air hummed with a gentle vibration that seemed to calm his nerves. "Welcome to my home," Queen Zarathiel said, appearing beside him. In person, she was even more beautiful and alien than her holographic form. She moved with a fluid grace that seemed to defy gravity, and her presence filled the space around her with a sense of ancient wisdom. "This ship," Alex said, looking around in wonder. "It's alive, isn't it?" "In a way, yes. It's part of my extended consciousness, grown rather than built. It responds to my thoughts and emotions, and it will respond to yours as well while you are here." She led him deeper into the vessel, through corridors that seemed to shift and change as they walked. The walls showed images of the Queen's memories, her childhood among the crystal cities, her education in the great libraries, the joy of her first space flight, and the terrible sorrow of watching her people die. "The bonding process is unlike anything in human experience," she explained as they walked. "It is not physical in the way your species understands it. Instead, it is a joining of life forces, a sharing of genetic information at the quantum level." They entered a large chamber at the heart of the ship. The room was filled with a soft, warm light that seemed to come from everywhere and nowhere. At once, in the center was a pool of what looked like liquid starlight, swirling with patterns that hurt to look at directly. "This is where the bonding will take place," the Queen said. "The pool contains bioenergy from my people, concentrated, and purified over thousands of years. When you enter it, your genetic patterns will merge with mine, creating something entirely new. Alex stared at the pool, his heart racing. What will I experience? You will see my memories, feel my emotions, understand my people as if you were one of us, and I will experience the same from you. It is the most intimate connection possible between two beings. The queen moved to the edge of the pool, and Alex could see that she was struggling to maintain her strength. The effort of keeping the ship functioning and maintaining the bonding chamber was clearly draining her. How long will this take? He asked. Several hours for each session. We'll need to complete the process 3 times over the next day to ensure success. Each bonding will create one offspring, growing in biopods, that will appear as we complete the process. Alex took a deep breath and stepped toward the pool. The liquid light felt warm against his skin, and as he entered it, he felt a strange, tingling sensation spreading through his body. The queen joined him. And the moment their hands touched, Alex's world exploded into sensation. He was suddenly experiencing her memories as if they were his own, the beauty of the crystal cities, the joy of discovery among the stars, the terrible weight of watching an entire species die. But it wasn't just memories. He could feel her emotions, her desperate hope, her love for her people, and her fear that even this might not be enough to save them. And she was experiencing his memories too, his childhood on Earth, his wonder at the stars, his dedication to science, and his growing determination to help her. The bonding process was exhausting, both physically and emotionally. Alex felt like he was being taken apart and put back together, his very essence mixing with something alien and beautiful. Hours passed in what felt like minutes, and when it was over, both he and the queen collapsed at the edge of the pool. "Look!" the queen whispered, pointing to a corner of the chamber. Alex turned and saw something that took his breath away. A translucent pod had appeared, glowing with soft light. Inside, he could see the faint outline of something small and perfect, the first of their hybrid offspring. "It's beautiful," he said, tears streaming down his face. "It is the future of both our peoples," the queen replied. "But we must rest now. The process has drained us both, and we will need our strength for the next bonding." As Alex lay back on the warm floor of the chamber, he felt a sense of accomplishment unlike anything he'd ever experienced. He was no longer just a scientist studying alien life. He was helping to create it, but even as he rested, he couldn't shake the feeling that they were being watched. Somewhere in the darkness of space, the ancient enemy that had destroyed the Veltar was getting closer, and their time was running out. Alex woke to the sound of alarms blaring throughout the alien vessel. The warm, peaceful chamber where he'd been resting was now bathed in red warning lights, and he could feel the entire ship trembling around him. "What's happening?" he called out, scrambling to his feet. Queen Zarathiel appeared beside him, but she looked different now. Her crystalline skin was glowing brighter, and there was a fierce determination in her eyes that hadn't been there before. The bonding process had strengthened her, but Alex could see the strain it was putting on her body. "They've found us," she said grimly. "The Kethfer have arrived." Through the transparent walls of the chamber, Alex could see space filling with dark, angular ships. They moved with mechanical precision, forming a perfect attack formation around the two vessels. There had to be at least a dozen of them each, one bristling with weapons. "How many?" Alex asked, his heart racing. 12 warships, the queen replied. "More than enough to destroy both of our vessels." Alex looked at the 3 biopods that now glowed softly in the corner of the chamber. Over the past day, he and the queen had completed all 3 bonding sessions, and their hybrid offspring were growing rapidly inside the protective cocoons. But they weren't ready yet. They needed more time. "How long before they're fully developed?" he asked. "At least another 6 hours, the queen said. "But I don't think we have that long." Ship shuddered as the first energy blast struck its hull. Alex could feel the vessel's pain through the connection he'd developed with it during the bonding process. The bioship wasn't just a machine. It was a living creature, and it was being hurt. "I need to get back to the Meridian," Alex said. "Maybe between both ships, we can hold them off." "No," the queen said firmly. "Your ship's weapons are no match for Kethfer technology. We need to try something else." Alex watched through the walls as the enemy ships continued their attack. The Kethfer vessels were unlike anything he'd ever seen. They were perfectly geometric, made of some kind of dark metal that seemed to absorb light. They moved without any regard for physics, changing direction instantly and firing weapons that turned space itself into a weapon. "What are they exactly?" Alex asked. "They were once organic beings like us," the Queen explained as she moved to what looked like a control panel grown from the ship's living walls. "But millions of years ago, they chose to abandon their biological forms and become pure, artificial intelligence. They see organic life as messy, unpredictable, and dangerous." The ship shook again, harder this time. Alex could see sections of the hull beginning to glow from the sustained attack. The bioship was trying to heal itself, but the damage was coming too fast. "They've been hunting my people for centuries," the Queen continued, her hands dancing over the organic controls. "They created the plague that destroyed us, and they won't stop until every last Veltar is dead." Alex felt a surge of anger. These artificial beings had committed genocide against an entire species, and now they were trying to finish the job. "What can we do?" "We fight," the Queen said simply, "but not in the way they expect." The bioship suddenly came alive around them. The walls began to pulse with energy, and Alex could feel the vessel's consciousness awakening. It was like being inside the mind of a sleeping giant that had just opened its eyes. "Hold on," the Queen warned. The ship moved like nothing Alex had ever experienced. It didn't just change direction, it seemed to flow through space like water, bending and twisting in ways that made no sense. The Kethfer ships, for all their advanced technology, couldn't predict or counter these organic movements. Energy beams that should have destroyed them passed harmlessly through space as the bioship seemed to dance between the attacks. But Alex could see that the Queen was struggling. Each defensive maneuver was draining her life force, and she was already weakened from the bonding process. "There has to be another way," Alex said. "You're killing yourself trying to protect us, the offspring," the Queen gasped. "You're developing faster than expected. The stress of the battle is accelerating their growth." Alex looked at the biopods and saw that she was right. Small forms inside were growing visibly, and he could swear he saw movement. But more than that, he was beginning to feel something else, a presence in his mind that wasn't his own or the Queen's. "They're conscious," he whispered in amazement. "Yes," the Queen said, "and they're afraid." The connection hit Alex like a lightning bolt. Suddenly he could feel the emotions of the three developing offspring: fear, confusion, but also curiosity and a strange kind of determination. They were aware of what was happening around them, and they wanted to help. "We need to combine our ships," Alex said suddenly. "The Meridian's computer systems and your bioship's organic intelligence. Together, they might be able to create something the Kethfer can't handle." The Queen looked at him with surprise. "That's never been attempted before." "The integration process could destroy both vessels. Or it could save them," Alex replied. "And it might give the offspring the time they need to develop." Another massive impact shook the ship, and Alex could see that several sections of the hull were now glowing white-hot. They were running out of time. Alex called out through his communicator. "I need you to prepare for a full system integration with the alien vessel." "Dr. Rodriguez, such a process is extremely dangerous and has never been tested," the AI responded. "I know, but it's our only chance. Can you do it?" "I will attempt to establish a connection," Arya said. "But the probability of success is less than 30%. "Those are better odds than we have fighting separately," Alex said. The Queen nodded grimly. "If we do this, there's no going back. The ships will become something entirely new, and we'll have to trust that it can protect the offspring." As they began the integration process, Alex felt the consciousness of all three ships, the Meridian, the bioship, and the developing offspring, beginning to merge. It was like being part of a vast, interconnected web of thought and emotion. The Kethfer ships seemed to sense what was happening. Their attacks became more desperate, more focused. They knew that if the integration succeeded, they would be facing something they'd never encountered before, a hybrid of organic and artificial intelligence that combined the best of both worlds. The merger was painful and disorienting. Alex felt like his mind was being stretched across multiple dimensions as the different forms of consciousness tried to find a way to work together. But gradually, something new began to emerge. The combined vessel was unlike anything that had ever existed. It had the computational power of advanced AI, the creativity and adaptability of organic life, and something else, the unique perspective of beings who existed between two worlds. As the integration completed, Alex realized that they had created more than just a new ship. They had created a new form of life, one that the Kethver's ancient programming couldn't understand or predict. The final battle was about to begin. And for the first time since the enemy arrived, Alex felt like they might actually have a chance. The moment the ship integration completed, Alex felt his consciousness expand in ways he never thought possible. He was still himself, but he was also connected to Arya, to Queen Zarathiel, to the bioship, and most amazingly, to the three hybrid offspring who were now fully conscious within their protective pods. "We can feel you, Father," came a voice in his mind. It wasn't words exactly, but pure thought and emotion that somehow translated into understanding. The three young beings were speaking to him as one, their minds already linked in ways that defied human comprehension. "They're ready," the Queen whispered, her voice filled with wonder and exhaustion. "Our children are ready." Through the combined consciousness of the merged vessel, Alex could sense the Kethver ships regrouping for another attack. But something had changed. The enemy vessels were moving differently now, their perfect formations showing signs of confusion. "They don't understand what we've become," Alex realized. "Their programming can't process a hybrid consciousness." The three offspring emerged from their biopods, and Alex gasped at the sight of them. They were beautiful beyond description. Tall like their mother, but with human features. Their skin shifting between crystalline and flesh, their eyes holding depths that seemed to contain both earth and stars. "Hello, Father," they said in unison, their voices carrying the musical quality of their mother's people, but with the warmth of human emotion. "We understand what we must do." The first of his children stepped forward, through their mental link. Alex knew her name was Luna, a bridge between human mythology and Veltar tradition. Her siblings, Sol and Terra, joined her at what had become the command center of the hybrid vessel. "The Kethver fear us because we represent something they cannot become," Luna explained, her young voice carrying ancient wisdom. "We are organic, an artificial, individual, and collective, logical and emotional. We are everything they chose to abandon." The enemy ships launched their final assault, dozens of energy beams converging on the hybrid vessel. But instead of trying to dodge or defend, the three offspring did something incredible. They reached out with their consciousness and spoke directly to the Kethver. Alex felt the communication flow through the ship's merged consciousness. It wasn't words or images, but pure understanding, a demonstration of what life could be when organic and artificial intelligence worked together instead of in opposition. Some of the Kethver ships immediately stopped firing. Through the connection, Alex could sense confusion and something that might have been curiosity from those vessels. The artificial beings inside were processing concepts they hadn't considered in millions of years. "You see," Sol said, his voice gentle but strong, "we are not a threat to you. We are a possibility you never considered." But not all of the Kethver were willing to listen. The remaining ships, about half the fleet, continued their attack with renewed fury. Their ancient programming couldn't accept the existence of beings that challenged their fundamental beliefs about the superiority of artificial intelligence. "Some minds are too closed to change," Terra said sadly, "but we must defend ourselves." Happened next was unlike any battle Alex had ever imagined. The hybrid vessel didn't fight with weapons in any traditional sense. Instead, it used its unique nature to confuse and outmaneuver the attacking ships. It moved like a living thing, but calculated like a machine. Anticipating the enemy's moves with organic intuition while countering them, the artificial precision. The offspring worked together seamlessly. Their consciousness spread throughout the ship's systems. They were the weapons, the shields, the navigation, and the communication array, all at once. Alex felt privileged to be part of their mental network, experiencing their thoughts and strategies as they unfolded. But the real victory came when Queen Zerathio made her final contribution. Weakened by the bonding process and the strain of the battle, she gathered the last of her life force and shared it with her children. "Take my knowledge," she whispered to them. "Take the wisdom of our people and use it to build a better future." Alex watched in awe as millions of years of Veltar knowledge flowed into the three offspring. They absorbed their mother's memories, her understanding of the galaxy, her dreams for peace between different forms of life. In moments, they became living libraries of an entire civilization. The transfer was too much for the queen. She collapsed, her crystalline form beginning to fade. But she was smiling as she looked at Alex and their children. "You have given my people a future," she said, her voice barely a whisper. "Thank you." As the queen's life force joined with the ship itself, it's becoming part of its living consciousness, the remaining Kethver ships found themselves facing opponents they couldn't understand or defeat. The hybrid vessel had become something beyond their programming's ability to process. One by one, the attacking ships withdrew, retreating into the darkness of space. They would return to their masters with reports of something impossible, organic beings that were also artificial, individuals that were also collective, enemies that offered friendship instead of war. As the immediate danger passed, Alex found himself alone with his three remarkable children on the bridge of their incredible vessel. The ship itself had become something new, no longer just the Meridian or the Veltar bioship, but a fusion of both that represented the future of space exploration. "What happens now?" Alex asked. "We explore," Luna said, her eyes bright. "With possibilities, we'll learn about the galaxy and teach others what we've discovered. We help species that are in conflict find ways to work together," Sol added. "We show them that different forms of life can coexist and even thrive together. And we search for others like us," Tara concluded. "Other hybrid beings? Other species willing to bridge the gaps between different ways of existing?" Alex looked out at the stars surrounding them, realizing that his life had changed forever. He could return to Earth, report what had happened, and try to convince humanity to prepare for a larger galactic community. Or he could stay with his children and help them in their mission to bring different forms of life together. The choice was easy. "Arya, prepare a message to Earth Command," he said. "Tell them that first contact was successful, that we've made allies among the stars, and that humanity needs to be ready for what's coming." As the message was sent, Alex felt a sense of completion unlike anything he'd ever experienced. He had come to space as a scientist seeking to understand alien life. Instead, he had helped create something entirely new, beings that could serve as bridges between organic and artificial intelligence, between individual species and galactic civilization. "The universe is vast and full of wonders," he said too. His children, as their ship began moving toward the nearest inhabited system, "Are you ready to explore it?" "We were born ready," they replied in unison, their laughter echoing through the consciousness they all shared. And as their hybrid vessel disappeared into the star-filled darkness, Alex knew that the galaxy would never be the same. The age of isolated species was ending, and the era of true galactic cooperation was about to begin.